Coming up on this episode of the Spiro Podcast.
Think 8 years to get a deal. And of course, we pursued other deals and we did our client acquisition and we continued to build relationships. But we didn't forget about people that said no. They didn't really say no. They said no, not right now.
Welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magrum.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. Spiro is a software platform. If you're just watching or listening for the first time, it's a software platform designed to help you manage and ultimately grow your real estate media business. My name is Craig Magrum, host of the podcast. Welcome back to another week. And we're all about talking about the business of real estate media and visual marketing. We have some lighthearted commentary and banter as well here and there because we're relational people, right? So let me introduce our co-host and owner and founder of Spiro, Todd Kivimaki. Welcome back, Todd.
Craig, it's great to be here another week. Exciting things to talk about. Great topic this week. Thank you all for the feedback. I think you guys are contacting us more and more, which is fabulous. Yeah. We love to hear from you. So please leave a comment wherever you're listening to this at, YouTube, any podcast channel, if you can even do that, I don't know. Or email us, hello@spiro.media. Also, if you're a Spiro user, please use the little pink chat bubble. You can say, hey, can you send this to Todd or Craig? They will tag us in here. If it's something urgent with Spiro, you're trying to get something set up or figured out, chat can help you as well. So that all the support team is in there for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, we always like to hit Spiro updates first. A lot has been going on the past week or so here, Todd, and I'm just going to let you take it.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Craig. Lots of great stuff. So we launched the beginning of this week a very large update. Excited about it. I've talked a lot about this, so I'm not going to spend time here, your valuable time, talking more about it. But this is making your order pages look great. Landing pages, photographer start time, end time, service areas, lots of great things in there. You can find all of that inside of Spiro in the release notes. You can find those in your inbox or just ask the team in the pink chat bubble. We are working on cycle 10 is what we're calling it. And that's the next development updates for you. And I wanted to just let you know kind of where we're landing right now. And where we land is based on all of y'all's feedback from us. So we want to make sure that we put in valuable functions and features for you guys. Spiro started off for just our real estate media company, Wow Video Tours. And we did everything that Wow needed. And that was years ago. And we still, Wow is still using it to shoot to 12,000 plus jobs a year. But we focus on what you guys want. And we use it too at Wow. So it's exciting, these new updates. You guys have great ideas. What we're looking at for cycle 10, which is going to launch the end of April. The biggie there that I wanted to at least let you know is we're looking at that marketing content. So we've had a lot of feedback. It's great that your agents want to use it. There's a few limitations. One thing, it's very simple right now. So it's easy for our agents to use it. Craig, we all know that our agents, I think of my mother. She's 79 years old. She's a real estate agent. I think of her being able to click around on her computer to do that. And she can't do it, by the way. She so it's not like I can't design it for my mother because my mother's like, she'll call me and she'll say, Todd, where's the W key? So we can't make it that simple. I love my mom, by the way. She's not listening. She has no clue what a podcast is. But we want to give some more functionality in that marketing kit for you. So, these are things like change the font, zoom, crop, zoom into the image, drag in a new text box, change this thing, change that thing. More Canva-like features that the higher level users are used to, and give you more templates as well. And looking to expand those templates into a couple different formats. So we've got some ideas that we're going to build around that marketing kit. So I'm excited for that. Some other goodies coming as well. But the other one I will mention because it's quick is property websites. So you will have at least one new property website. And then we've built a flow that we can more quickly and easily get you new designs and templates for those property websites. So if you've got a property website out there you love, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be a property website, maybe it's just a website that you go to and you're like, I love this gallery, or I love this font, I love this header. This would be cool to have in Spiro for my clients. Can you send me that link? Just hello@spiro.media. Say, on the podcast, Todd asked for some website examples. Send them to me. I'll put them in our documentation for our designer that's doing those websites as inspiration. And then we'll look to incorporate elements in those. So a screenshot, a link to the website would help us, and we'll put those as inspiration.
There you go. Awesome. All right. Any other updates coming up that you want to talk about, or
not updates? I mean, we launched another update or a partnership with AutoHDR.
Right.
And so thank you all for the support in trying that. So if you are just finding out about it now, it's AI photo editing. And this is I do not own the company. I don't have any ownership in the company. I know the owner, Matt, and Matt is a real estate business owner as well. He, long story short, and I posted some of this on our Spiro Super User group, so because I want to be 100% transparent. Matt is a real estate business owner. He has a degree in machine learning.
Real estate business or real estate photography media business?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, real estate photography. Yeah, real estate media. Yeah,
okay.
He's a real estate photography business. And he's in, I always say the Hamptons, but it's not the Hamptons. It's another very high-end market. Nantucket is where he's at.
Oh, wow.
And he's a Spiro user as well. And we've been talking for a long time. So he contacted me quite a while ago. And he's like, hey, showed me the model, asked for some images from WOW. And we were really busy at that point. I'm like, oh, Matt, just, not right now. Respectfully, no. And he found me in Vegas. And we talked, and he caught the eye of Jess, our operation manager, what he was showing us. And we've worked with him since we've had those conferences in November. And he has done an incredible amount of work. Y'all, he moved away from his real estate media business because he didn't want to focus on, because he wanted to focus on this new model and this editing. And he's got it to the point to where we are using it at our real estate media company. Many of y'all who know Eli Jones, he's using it at Norman and Young. And we feel like not only is the product great, but we align really well with Matt, and Matt is the business owner. And that's super important because we will never recommend a business or recommend you use something that we don't align with the values. And one of the cool things is, much like Spiro, where there's some things in Spiro you guys go, oh, that's interesting. How'd you know to do that? And I say, hey, because I screwed it up for 20 years. And then I created software around it. It's the same idea as to how he is so much further ahead than other AI systems. He's only done this now for about 8 months, I think. 8 months. I've been talking to companies for years, and they're nowhere near where he is at. Now, is it perfect? It's not perfect. It's really darn good. I was on a call the other day with someone, and we were looking at some of the images, and they're like, oh, what about that fascia right there? And we zoomed in to see if there was clouds on it. And no, there wasn't clouds on it. But I say this kindly to all of you. If you ever have to really, really zoom into an image, you're being too picky. Send it to your clients. And you're going, no, Todd, you don't understand. You do volume at WOW. I have really picky clients. No, I do understand. We have particular clients as well. Every client deserves a great image, but they don't have your eye. If you ever have to zoom in and pixel peep, I'm sorry, you're spending your time not very well. And I say that from a place of love in my heart because I used to do that. Should I send it? Should I not send it? Good is good enough. Hit the send button reactively. If they want something changed, show how good your customer service is.
Yeah.
So that's AutoHDR. I digress there and went a little off of the story, but
it's a hot topic right now. It's in all the Facebook groups, and so no, I think it's important to talk about.
Yeah. So we mentioned this in the last podcast, but we had an open conversation. We care about humans here, y'all. That's all we talk about relationships. I have ownership in Creo, an editing company that WOW sends most of our business that way. And I'm not going to leave them afloat. So I've been talking to them. I'm like, hey, what else can we do with your team? We love your team. You guys are talented. What else can we do?
Right.
And they went, oh, well, we would love to pivot into this. So it's not that I don't care about humans. It's just that I'm not naive to think that technology is not going to evolve. And if we don't evolve with it, then we're going to be obsolete in the end. Right. You know, just one more thing on this, Craig, and I love this discussion, but like I set out in a cornfield for 10 years with WOW, and I thought I was going to keep it all to myself. And, you know, honestly, like we were doing thousands and thousands and thousands of tours a year, and we tried to tell no one about it because we thought that if we didn't tell anybody, that would be our unique advantage, that no one was going to figure out how to take a real estate photo or video. And I will tell you, ever since we've kind of launched Spiro and I've gotten to talk to a lot of you all, and we do coaching, and we, you know, Eli Jones is coaching, we have some calls in there. And ever since we're like giving, like, here's what we do, here's what we do, here's what we do. It took 21 years to develop that. And I've switched the mentality that's like, hey, I'm just going to freely give, you know, because we're all going to make this better. Because then you guys go and do it and you ask this question. I'm like, oh, that's a great question. We could make it better by doing that. So I hear the idea of like, I don't want your editors to be out of work. I understand they feed their families with the income you give them. That weighs heavy on me. As a business owner, it weighs heavy on all of us, right? Every night I lay down and I think about all the employees at WOW and Spiro and the different companies. I'm like, that is on my mind. I want them not only to feed their families, but I want them to hit their goals. I want them to feel fulfilled with their work. And that's just all part of business. And sometimes you have to pivot, and sometimes you have to change. And change is not easy.
No,
but
it's hard.
It is hard. But there's a book, and I can't remember the author right now, but it's titled "What Got You Here
Won't Get You There." Yeah, I've heard that one.
And it's a great read. It's a pretty quick read.
Yeah.
But it's so true.
Yeah. Can I relate just a real quick story related to change?
Please.
And leading change is one of the hardest things you will ever do as a business owner, a leader. Before I was in the real estate media field, I worked in broadcast radio. And my last role, I was general manager of a station. And myself and our program director at the board's behest, we were a non-commercial at the time and nonprofit station. The station was the oldest Christian radio station in our market, and it was literally dying. And I was asked to interview for the GM position, and I thought, that's not the type of station I'm really that thrilled about potentially leading. And I knew that I agreed to the interview, but with the intention of asking the question, is there a willingness by the board to make some major format changes to breathe some life into the station again and reach our community again with the message that we're tasked with carrying? Is there a willingness? Because change is hard. Well, Todd, before I even got to asking that question, the board told me we need to make changes. And what are your ideas for changing what we need to do to be relevant to families in our market again? And when you have an entrenched audience that's used to doing things a certain way, nobody wants to really wants to change, and it's not comfortable. And you can be accused of leaving people behind. But the intent is to reach new audiences, reach new people, be relevant to your market, you know, and it doesn't really matter what industry you're talking about. But leading through that change and dealing with the pushback is extremely hard. And you do have to find creative ways to make it a positive change and be authentic about it with your reasons for it. You've got to find your why in leading the change, whether it's an AI editing change or whatever. You've got to find your why of why are we pursuing this change? Are my reasons my reasons for pursuing that change authentic, transparent, good, profitable, good for people. It's a hard thing. So you do have to pause. Leading a change is one of the hardest things you'll do in your life. So we don't take it lightly, and it's not a topic that we just are traipsing across. You really do have to think through it and what's the impact for your business. So that was the whole purpose of last week's episode, is what is the impact for a major change like this? So we do encourage you, think through what's best for your business and for your team and your editors and all of that. We don't take that lightly.
Yeah, we don't. That's a great story, Craig. And, it's some of the things that we have to be willing to push through as a business owner. Change. I'm not saying you have to use AutoHDR. We're not saying you have to use Spiro. Right. We're not saying you have to use anything. We're just telling you, much like any other experience, what we do, and you're welcome to take it or leave it. That's the beautiful thing about being a business owner. You have that power. So, we wanted to be careful with it in the way that we used it with our company. So we had those conversations because we care about those editors and those people. And, maybe this is something you'll take, maybe not. But I think that story, Craig, is perfect for business owners, because that's one of the most difficult parts of being a business owner.
What ultimately ended up happening with that change at the radio station, with that format change to reaching younger families again, was some of the entrenched audience, some of them actually did catch the vision and realized, hey, we need to take the message that this radio station is trying to share with it, the community, and we need to pass that message on to the next generation in a way that they understand and get. And so that older generation that was used to listening to this station, quite a few of them did make that shift. And making a shift is painful. It's hard, but man, I admired them for that and their willingness to find new ways to pass on the faith that they had. Obviously Christian radio station is what I led. But I just to see them looking to the next generation and how can I benefit them? How can this change benefit people beyond me? So anyway.
Yeah. And Craig, I just have to ask, because I know the listeners like, what happened? And I know you're super humble. I know what happened and what you did with the station, but once you made those changes and worked, what did you guys do with the station?
Well, we went from an old format of a lot of teaching and preaching programs, gospel music, like Southern gospel music, choral, inspirational, sacred music, to much more of an adult contemporary type of style. So more pop, light rock, things like that, all faith related, and started really marketing that, getting out to churches, talking about it. And I'm very happy to say the station is doing incredible and very, very much alive again in reaching families and connecting, helping promote local concerts, being in the community a lot more. The station wasn't in the community hardly at all, but it's vibrant. It's doing really well. There are businesses supporting it like crazy now, so it's doing really well now.
Yeah. And again, you're so it's like the station, Craig, right? Like you turned it like it's the station. It's what everybody knows. It's everywhere. It's making an impact on the community. So kudos to you for that turnaround.
It was a team effort. Without the board being willing to make those changes, it never would have happened. So the board of directors empowered me to make that change. So it was a group effort. And the program director that I had, Cliff, he was fantastic in really, really implementing the changes on air to reach that new family. So it's going to be the same for you. With your business, it's going to take a team effort. Yes, you're the visionary, you're the leader out front leading that change, but make sure you've got a good team around you that's going to support you and be on the same page of the changes that you want to make to that business, and that they understand that and can work together, and create, I hate using this word because it's a business buzzword, Todd, but creating synergy in the in the same direction.
Is Nick Kellis in here saying that?
Is he a synergy
That's
guy?
Nick Kellis word. Yes.
So, but that's important. You can't do it alone. No person is an island.
Hey, just two more things about AutoHDR, because I just want to make there's questions that I've been asked, and I want to let you all know. I think I said this. I don't own any portion of AutoHDR. Our company uses it. Wow Video Tours. Our company pays to use it. If you click my link I do get a little kickback. So if you go to AutoHDR/Spiro, you get 30 free credits. I get a little kickback. If you don't want me to have the kickback, just delete Spiro and there'll be no tracking on there. So you choose that. You choose that if you want to support us. I don't care either way. I just want to make sure it's good for you. Truly do.
It was going to be a really life-changing thing too, Todd.
And also the decision for us to integrate AutoHDR with Spiro was not a paid sponsorship from AutoHDR into Spiro. We wanted to streamline the workflow. And so we built that integration, one, because we wanted to completely streamline it, not only for WOW, but for all of you guys. So and it was almost in the task and workflows already. So the pipeline was about built, but we decided to build that because we felt so confidently in streamlining this that we wanted to give you the easy button is what it was if you wanted to use it. So you don't have to use it by all means. Keeping it in your court. Keep the feedback coming. We love it. We love constructive. We love good. Whatever you want to give us, please do. I think the conversation is phenomenal and can always lead to good things as long as everybody has an open mind.
And comes at it in a positive way too.
Agreed, Craig. Yep.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, cool. Lots of great things happening. Todd, thank you for all those updates and the more in-depth discussion on the hot topic of the day with AI photo editing. So if you don't have anything else, I'd love to
we have a listener.
A listener. Oh, well, yes. Which one?
Well, that's our topic, right?
That's our topic, yeah. And it's a great one because it actually tied into one of the wins that was celebrated during our staff meeting this morning for WOW Video Tours. And a major part of what's helping drive my business in my market here in Toledo. Todd, you want to introduce the question?
Yeah. So this comes from John. And John, I didn't get your permission to say your last name, so I'm not going to say it, although I don't think you'd care. I know you pretty well, but this comes from John. And he asked about follow-up with realtors and brokers. So this is just follow-up and not specifically at any point in the funnel. I think we can connect this in a few different points. So this is either, hey, I've had a brokerage presentation for a broker, or I've had a broker deal presentation where I'm trying to get the whole company. But this is also hey, I stopped in an office, I presented in an office, I had coffee, or I even called someone. I think follow-up in general is that's where, what's the saying, Craig? The fortune's in the follow-up is what they say.
I've never heard that one. But
Shannon, it's a Shannonism. And
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Shannonism, and she'd probably tell you she stole it from someone, but I know I learned it from Shannon. So the fortunes in the follow-up. One thing that I think sometimes I can get so focused on as a business owner is new contacts. New. Like fill the top of the funnel.
Right.
And there's almost, at least to me, I don't know, there's almost like a high of like, this is someone new. Like they might buy something from us, a new realtor. But that puts them at the top of the funnel, which means that you have to go through a full new life cycle of nurturing and meetings and all of that. And new is fun, right? I mean, how many of you, every one of you, so if you're not raising your hand, you're lying, but how many of you bought something because you're like, I want that new thing? And then you're like, oh, that thing's not so great. Yeah. I do it all the time. I had this conversation with my 12-year-old son last night. So my 12-year-old son, he plays basketball. I think you guys know we do a ton of basketball. He plays a ton of basketball. And I coach him in a lot of different leagues. And he, like most 12-year-olds, became emotionally upset about his book bag. Okay, all of a sudden, he does not like his basketball book bag. Things been fine. We got it for him 2 Christmases ago. It holds his shoes. It holds his bag, or it holds his basketball. It holds his towel. He's got a knee brace. Like, what all do you put into a basket? You don't put much in a bag. But all of a sudden, he sees some other kids' bags. Now we're transitioning to AAU, and some of his AAU buddies have this new Nike bag. And he cannot live with his bag anymore. Like this thing, how could any company even make a bag like this and make me carry it? You know, like, and I don't mean to poke fun at him because this is me doing this as well. But like we talked through this last night, you know, we read devotion sitting in bed, and I'm talking to him about this because he's upset about this. So he is on me for a week and a half to order this new Nike bag. It's what he wants. It's its color, all that good stuff. I order it. We wait a week for it to come. He anticipates it coming. Dad's, when's it going to come? It's coming today. No, B, it's coming on Thursday. Today's Wednesday. It's like, it's not here yet. I'm like, UPS hasn't come today. It finally gets here. It's like, oh, the bag has arrived.
The glow around it, the hallelujah chorus.
Yes. He gets the bag in the car. We're driving to practice yesterday. He's like, hey, can I switch it in the car? I'm like, yeah, go ahead, man. And so he's switching his old bag, which is just this atrocious old bag. Like, how could anybody ever carry this bag? And he's put it on the new bag, and he's like showing me. He's like, Dad, look, it zips here. Like, he's like, do you like the color? I'm like, it's fabulous, bub. I'm like, I love it. And we get to practice. He shows his buddies. There's something about the tag on the bags. And they're like, oh, be careful because people steal those. Okay. So we have this high of the bag. Mm-hmm. And then it comes to, like, I made him pay for the bag.
Oh, okay. That's great.
This was a him paid for bag. We had purchased a bag. I just bought him shoes, and I'm okay buying him shoes. For basketball, we paid for AAU. Well, actually, his grandmother pays for his AAU, which is fabulous. And I was like, hey, bud, you can wait for Easter. You can wait for your birthday, but that's August. And he's like, no, I want it. I have some money. I'm going to spend it. Well, the bag was like $87. And I was getting ready for bed, and Jessica's, my wife, is like, hey, B wants to talk to you. I'm like, oh, is he okay? She's like, yeah, he just has his money. So I go in, and he's got his money there, and mm-hmm. he's sad now. Like, this is the full on buyer's remorse. And we just talked through him, talking through that situation of like, hey, it's this shiny object. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, but I do it all the time. I get caught on some things that I think that's the next best and great thing. And then you get it and you're like, whoa, it's really not. Like, that's consumerism. That's marketing. I fall to it all the time. But it's just this idea of this shiny object syndrome. And I think we as owners get that. At least I get it. I don't know if you all get it, but I get it. I'm like, oh, a new client. But you forgot that the bag you have is perfect. You forgot that you were super excited when you got that bag 2 Christmases ago. It was exactly what you picked out that bag. That was the perfect bag for what you needed. And nothing has changed. It still does what it needs to do, but it's not the new bag. So that's what it is. And sorry for the long story there, but that is the correlation to why the fortune's in the follow-up, because you have a fortune inside of that old bag, that old backpack of yours, those clients that you've spent time with and that aren't purchasing from you, or that might purchase more, that might refer you. So the fortune's in the follow-up.
And I think there's something to be said about longevity. What's the right word there? Longevity in the market and in the business. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if you've been in your market for a number of years, you're building up a reputation of trustworthiness, of delivering good product, good service. And even if you have not had a breakthrough with a client or a prospective client that you've been trying to get and trying to win, I think the longer you're in the market and people are familiar with you, eventually they're going to look at you again. Mm-hmm. So, example this morning, Pam shared during our staff meeting that a certain brokerage that she has talked with, that we've talked with for how many years now, Todd? Has it been?
Probably 8.
8 years.
Literally 8 years the conversation started, yeah.
Right. That we've done some work here and there for them, but never had that big breakthrough. Well, that happened, just this past week?
Yes.
Where all of a sudden a door opened because we've been faithfully serving them in the limited way that we have, but we've built a reputation of being able to be trusted with the work, the little bit of work that they did give us. And suddenly a need presented itself to them, and they knew we would be able to help them with that. 8 years. Maybe you have some more commentary on that.
Well, yeah, they started off as off limits. They were the company that had the in-house free photos. Dun, dun, dun. Right. It's like,
I can't compete with that.
Yeah, I'm never going to work for them. They've got an in-house program. And let me just set this up. So these are the big dogs in this city. So they're tied for the market share leader. You generally have 15 to 18% market share, around maybe 15 to 17. But that's a lot for a major city. That's a huge amount to have in a major city as a
Right.
single real estate company. And we just kept the relationship up. Now, a lot of you ask, like, how often do I go back for follow-up? So if they're off limits, we're not going back in 3 months. It might be an email to a manager if we have something new. We're always looking for new ways and and different ways we could serve them. But probably 5 years ago, it came up that this company was expanding and they purchased some other offices, and it was outside of their serviceable area for their in-house company. And because we had kept up with this relationship, we found out that information, which allowed us to get that business, the far outlying business. And we covered those areas because we covered both cities that they had expanded into. And so we began doing business, and we were just there consistently for them. We'd continue to meet more people in their company. And honestly, Craig, we ran that for about 4.5 years. Pam just started this maybe 6-8 months ago, this conversation. So during that time of working for these outlying offices, I met with the owner. I had the opportunity to sit with the owner. Shannon actually at Spiro did some coaching for their recruitment director and connected me. And so I met with the owner. I didn't get business right after that. You think, oh, this is the owner. Like, no, it was just me connecting with him just on a human to human level. And I kept up with him. Then Pam kept up. And then we found out, well, one thing I forgot to mention, one thing with their in-house, we realized that one of their in-house photographers was just not happy in the position that she was in. And we, in fact, hired her with their blessing. It's not like we poached her. We hired her with their blessing, and she's a phenomenal photographer for us. We found out what her pain points were, and that's a whole nother podcast, but we got a great photographer from them, and we understood what she needed, and we adapted to that. She fit our model better. Then a couple years from there, again, just continuing to build relationships, continuing to work hard, and we grew in clients. It came up earlier in this year, Craig, that they were doing away with the in-house team. And I failed to mention, so when I sat with the owner, he anticipated that down the road when such and such was ready to retire, they would probably close the in-house company down.
Interesting.
So I knew it was a timeline of until we could get the business. And so because we knew that there could be a good possibility that business could be available to us, we kept up with them. And Pam worked really hard, and we secured a broker pay deal with one office, and they anticipate that it's going to spread to all the offices. And they agreed actually to an amount to pay for their agents higher than what our ASP is right now, our AOV is right now. So that is super exciting. And I think just a good point that just like the old bag for my son, this account became the old bag. Like, it was 8 years. And think of how much money and opportunity was in that bag. And if I would have forgotten about it and said, oh, give me the new bag, then we would have let this opportunity go away. And this might be our biggest deal. It's easily our second or third biggest deal that we've ever signed. So that's super exciting. It is, when you have to wait for things as humans, at least for me, it's difficult. Like, think 8 years to get a deal. And of course, we pursued other deals, and we did our client acquisition, and we continued to build relationships, but we didn't forget about people that said no. They didn't really say no. They said, no, not right now. That's all a no is just no, not right now. So I want to go over a few tools here with following up and some things that we do. I don't know if any of you have heard of doing the database too. So this is a technique as to how a strategy for contacting your clients, but it's a 13-week cycle, and you contact the clients that have the last name in week 1 beginning with A and W. So this is about 10.5% of the population. And then week 2 is B and E. That's 9.46% of the population. So this is a strategy that you can work, that you make sure you contact all of your clients. We do things, we make sure we contact all of our clients at WOW. We do it a little bit differently than the database too. That will get you all of your clients. And I think right now, if you have a smaller database of clients, that will work really well for you. So search the database too, or just find some way to make sure that you get your clients, once every 13 weeks. What we do is, and at WOW, and we all have about the same clients. You have really small, medium, and large clients. Our large we call VIPs, and we look at those clients, and we have things that take care of our VIPs. So you don't want to lose a VIP. Those people bring in they're typically 20% in size of your business. So usually the top 20% of your business do 80% of your revenue. So you need to keep your VIPs happy. We have a VIP program. We have a contact procedure, a cadence that we do where our salespeople, Steve, maybe our sales director, our director of sales and marketing, he contacts them. I even contact them about once a year. So we have a way that we keep up with those individuals to make sure that they know that they're very important. We put them in a program. We give them awards. We give them discounts. We give them a special newsletter. And we make sure that our VIPs are taken care of. They get things that other clients don't get. And then from there, you have your small and medium clients. And the goal is that they feel as though you are taking good care of them, right? That's the goal in follow-up. So for those, we have in our CRM, we have a cadence of how quickly and how often we talk to them. A tool that we use that we've learned, and this is all Steve at WOW, but when you have a contact with someone, so when you contact them, a call, a text, an email, a meeting, you need to log that. Okay, so you need to log that in a CRM, so something that's keeping track of that for you. And when you log that, you want to put in some information, some notes about what it was. And also from that, you need to log your next task. So when do you need to follow up with that person? It might be by Monday. It might be a month from now, or it might be next year. We take those cadences with our clients, and maybe clients that are just starting out, agents that have just gotten their license, we might contact them a couple times at the beginning to make sure they have a few touch points. We can build a relationship, but then it might be 6 months before we contact them again and check in. They might take a year to get a listing. We want to remain top of mind, but calling that new agent once a week is just simply going to exhaust them. And they'll be like, why are you calling me? It's going to be a little weird. So putting that follow-up in, say you talk to a medium-sized client, this is a client that you might want to talk to once a quarter. So 3 months from now, you might put down that you need to follow back up with the client. And again, this is pending that you've given the client everything that they need. So that's the first thing. Is there anything actionable? Do they need something from you? Get it to them, but also then put them back in your calendar at an appropriate date, 3 months from now for a medium-sized client so that they feel enough touch points. And then our VIP clients, they hear from us monthly. And those are all in the CRM, all in the calendar. If you're like, Todd, what CRM do you use? What is a CRM? Just to let you know, we use Pipedrive right now. We're looking at switching outside of Pipedrive. A good friend of the podcast, Pete Stagel, he has a CRM, Pixel CRM, and I know many of you are using that. A CRM could be as simple as just keeping a spreadsheet. So inside of Spiro, you can export all of your clients, export them, and then just keep it in an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Doc the last time you've called them, and then put and the next column, next contact date. And then you can sort by that descending, and then you can call those clients. You can put notes in a fourth column, whatever you want to do. But please just keep it simple. When we overcomplicate things, that's when we are focused on the wrong thing. I have a little bit of a confession here. I can't tell you how many hours that I've spent looking for CRMs, literally. Like, I've searched them all. I've done demos. I've done demos multiple times. I've taken trial accounts. I've loaded things in. I've researched beyond research. And it's like, all that time I spent, just pick one and use it. Just something simple as like a spreadsheet. So don't get caught in the details there. I know I can get caught in the details. I love all the features and the benefits, and I love the grids and the comparisons. And I love to read reviews. Anyone else love to do that? Are you all sometimes on Amazon like reading reviews for 8 days? And you're like, what? Like, this is a spatula for my kitchen. Why am I reading so many reviews? Like, worst case, I'm just going to send the spatula back. Like, Todd, you've read 42 reviews. Just decide if you want the spatula to flip your pancakes or not. Oh, goodness. So progress over perfection, something to keep focused on there. One more thing, if you're still saying, hey, I don't know when I need to contact a client, worst case, just ask them. I'll do that a lot. And sometimes I haven't won the client, meaning they haven't committed to using us, but they might be a big client or even a client that I want to get. And I'll just ask them like, hey, how can I help you? When would it be best to follow back up with you? If you ask those questions, the cool thing is you can't lose there. They're going to tell you like, hey, I've got a busy couple of weeks coming up, but can you call me back in 2 weeks? Or, hey, I don't have time for this right now. I'll call you back. Or can you call me back in a month or at the end of busy season, whatever it may be, or 1 year from now? The great thing is you have an opportunity now to show them that you are good on your word. So when I always ask that question, how can I best help you with this decision? What can I get you? And when would it be best to contact you again about this? And I do what they say. And if they say, hey, call me back next Wednesday, I put in my calendar on Wednesday a to-do or an appointment, a to-do item. And I put it for a date and time. If they didn't tell me a time, I do it earlier rather than later. I don't want to call them back at 5 o'clock. Then they feel like, well, great, I got them on Wednesday, but I got them at the very end of the day. I call them earlier rather than later, or email them, and I make sure that gets done. I know that when it goes on my calendar, it's going to get done. And again, back to the CRM question, that is a form of a CRM. So I know there's so much technology out there, and I was talking to we had dinner at a friend's house last night. I was talking to their oldest son, who's a junior in high school, and he loves all of the new AI items with Google. And then, we were talking about Google and the gems and Obsidian and Notebook LM. And he was going on and on. He had tried them all, and he tried Arc, this new browser. And I was like, wow, he just really knows. Like, that's really cool. I was like, man, maybe I need to look at those. It's like, no, I have a process for these. I have a very simple system that works for me, and my system's not broken right now. So Todd, don't focus on something that's not broken and focus where you have gaps. Again, shiny object syndrome for us owners. It's very easy to get into that. You're looking like, well, what's that next new thing? Like, oh, I don't need that. Like, I feel good about the way I manage my calendar and my time. So I'm going to focus on other items that I feel like I'm not so great at and I need to improve on. So be careful of those time bandits there, because there's so much out there to take our attention. But yeah, just put that calendar event and a date and time. And if it's next Wednesday, put it in at 10 a.m. and call that individual. And even if you don't get that individual, like say they kind of just brushed you off and they didn't want to tell you no in person, and they said, oh, call me back in a couple weeks. When you call them back in a couple weeks, you might get their voicemail, but I would just say, hey, just following back up, wanted to make sure I was good on my promise. You asked me to call you back in 2 weeks, and I just wanted to follow back up with you. I really enjoyed our lunch together. I'm hoping that we can, do X, Y, and Z for you. I'm hoping that we can earn your business. I'll put you back on my calendar for next week. If you need me in the meantime, call me or text me, whatever the follow-up is. And then once you're done with that phone call, go 1 week from today, whatever you told that individual on the phone, and put it on your calendar. And I know many of you are saying, hey, Todd, why do you even type anything on a calendar anymore? Because you can just ask AI to do that. And that is awesome. That's what the junior in high school did. And he just says, hey, go to the calendar. Again, it works for him. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. I might just start talking to Gemini or asking ChatGPT to do it. But there's always going to be ways to become more efficient. But just make sure you have a system that works for you and do what you say you're going to do. So that is going to do it for us today. Hey, thank you, everybody. We lost Craig. We had a little technical difficulty here, but he is with us in spirit. So sorry about the glitch here, but we appreciate all of you. If you need to contact us, hello@spiro.media. Or click down in the little pink chat bubble. If this is the 14th of March right now. My team is all on. If you need me, I am taking a quick vacation for the next week and a half. So if you need me immediate, reach out to my team. If it's for me and you say, hey, send this to Todd, just know I'm going to get you in a couple weeks from today. So if it's not urgent, if it's urgent, ask for the team. If it's not urgent, you need me, just give me a couple weeks to go on vacation. I will be back to you. So thanks, everybody. Hey, please make time to take a breath. Thanks and have a great day.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.